Hey everyone, how you doing today? My name's Kirsty and on today's video I'm taking you through my April TBR where not only do I have the My Heroic TBR, I also have the Magical Readathon. I've talked a little bit about the Magical Readathon before, but I will link below to Book Roast's video channel where you can find all of the information about what the Magical Readathon is and how you can get started. What I will say is the Magical Readathon is this incredible readathon where you get to build your own character. For those that were in it from the beginning, we then went on various adventures to sort of build your character's backstory and background and what they're going to be doing. And now we are in the second year of our studies at this magical academy. My character's name is Maytharanel. I'm just going to move over here so I can bring her up. My character's name is Maytharanel. She is an earth changeling from Dark Meadow, which is this mostly, it's not recommended that you stay on the surface, especially overnight. The majority of this kingdom lies underground and is full of these huge caverns. It's also the home of like the big grand library, and it's just a really awesome place. It does have some snowy mountainous areas as well, and this is the area that my character is from. She essentially grew up with a mother who is one of the scholars from the library. She's very interested in what powers magics, particularly what kind of magical properties each of the gemstones and the crystals within the world that they live in comes from. And her father used to be a jeweler who made trinkets and other little pieces of jewelry out of various gemstones that were found by the miners and things like that, or that her mother was studying. He spent a lot of time away because he used to go to all the other different regions to sell his wares. And that's where Maytharanel kind of got her love of travel and adventure, because she used to go with him as a child occasionally. He's now retired and settled at home, and now Maytharanel has reached the age where she can enter this magical academy to learn various things. And she's developed a little bit more of a adventurous spirit than her parents. She loves research and she loves learning new things, but at the same time she doesn't want to just be stuck inside a library for her whole life or stuck with books. She wants to be out and exploring. So when she heard that there is a career path that she can take that will cause her to become a Feywild cartographer, she leapt at this chance because it meant going to a new realm, a new world, with all these new things to explore. However, she's taking it quite cautiously, and she is taking a route that gives her some base knowledge of other things before she eventually goes for that trade. She is accompanied by her pseudo dragon Trinket, and her pseudo dragon is a little crystal dragon, and he is named after the trinkets that her father used to make, that he used to sell, and she still has a couple of special pieces that he made just for her. And the pair of them joined the academy last year. They got themselves geared up, they got all of their equipment, they've picked their special skills, etc. Last year she studied herbology and she passed both terms with flying colours, so well done to her. And so she is now an apprentice in herbology, and then this year she's going to be studying to be a beast tamer. This is because she figures it's, even though she's going into a world where the plants and creatures are unknown, she figures it can't hurt to have a basic knowledge of the plants in the world that they do know, as well as the animals, so that maybe she can be better equipped to handle the unknown by having a good base knowledge of the known. So this year she will be studying Beast Tamer, which means that in the Spring Equinox, aka April's round, she needs to read 5 books and she needs to study 5 subjects. She has to study alchemy, animal studies, elemental studies, law, and restoration. And then when she moves on to the autumn term, she will need to read 7 books. She won't need to read anything for law. She'll need to read 1 book for alchemy and elemental studies. She'll need to read 2 books for restoration and all 3 books for animal studies in order to gain this qualification. So it's a little bit tougher than it was last year because she only had to do 2 books, then 4. This year it's 5, then 7. So she's a little bit, and the person who created her is a little bit nervous because she's not even finished 1 full novel this month. However, I'm very pleased to announce that because she is in Order of the Crescent, it meant that I got 3 extra days. So because we won, our house won the championship in the last round, that means that we got a 3-day advance. So on the 29th, so yesterday, we were allowed to start early if we were in Order of the Crescent. And I am very happy to announce that I've actually already nearly finished my first book. So I'm like, okay, we're back on it. Thank you, Nalini Singh, for getting me out of yet another reading slump. But we're going to quickly break down what we're going to be doing. So for Alchemy, I had to choose a book with a metal in the title. And for this, I have chosen The Iron Raven by Julie Kagawa. I'm not going to go into detail on the books because we've got 2 different TBRs to get through. We need to get through them. So we have The Iron Raven by Julie Kagawa. For animal studies, it was to flip a coin, and if we got heads, we had to read a non-fiction. Tails is a fiction. I was going to show you the clip now of what I flipped. I've never wished for tails before, but let's go. Yes! Luck is on my side today. As you can see, I flipped a tails. So I got to read a fiction and I chose Alpha Night by Nalini Singh. That is on my Kindle, and that I say I finished it, I haven't quite finished it. I am now on, I think, 78 or 80%. Yeah, 87%. That's going to be finished within the next hour. So that will complete that prompt. Elemental study is to read a book with flowers on the cover, and I've chosen Daughter of the Moon Goddess. I'm going to restart it because I got 100 pages in, but I already can't remember what happens. So I am going to restart this because next month I'm reading Heart of the Sun Warrior as a buddy read with Pages with Paige, so I definitely need to get to this month. Law is to read a book with a map. For this one, I chose The Butterfly Assassin. Again, I've only read the first 3 chapters, so I just need to restart that and go again. But it's really cool because it's not often with dystopia sci-fi type that you get a map, but you do with this one, so that's kind of cool. And then for restoration, it's to close your eyes, shuffle, and pick a random book. And I did do this with a bunch of arcs originally. I just dropped one of my books. But I chose instead this time to do this with my library books that I hauled last week. And for this, I chose to do Dawn by Octavia E. Butler. And yeah, I've never read anything by her, so I'm interested to get into it and see why people love her writing so much. But of course, May Tharanel, she isn't content with just studying what she's told to. She likes to plan for everything, so she has actually selected books for every subject apart from 2, because 2 of them are quite subjective, and I'll get to and explain right now. So with The Art of Illusion, it's to choose a book that matches your clothing that you're wearing, like the cover has to match. I figured instead of picking a book that matches what I'm wearing now, I'm just going to wait until I actually get to that prompt and pick whatever I'm wearing on that day. And the other one that I haven't yet chosen is Artificery, which is to start with a snack. And again, I don't have a book planned for that. I just will pick on the day. For the rest of them, we have Astronomy, which is 2 E's in the title, and I have Ace of Spades. Conjuration is a friend rec, so even though I thought I DNF'd it and I even put it in my unhaul box, it's now back out of the unhaul box because I've been told that I've got to read it, and that is The Raven Boys by Maggie Stuvarter. Spells and Incantations is to read a book between 389 to 415 pages, and I'm going with Vespertine by Margaret Rogerson because this is 391, I believe, so it definitely fits. Demonology was to read a book that was compared to another book that you've read, so things like on the if you like this, try this kind of videos. It took me forever to find something because on most of them that I'd seen, the ones that were being recommended were books that I've already read. And I was like, or I didn't own them. So this took me a long time. And in the end, I've gone with a reread. I must have watched at least 12 of these bloody videos and I still couldn't find. So in the end, Haley in Bookland said that if you liked Crescent City, so House of Earth and Blood, then you should read Angel Fall by Susan E. And this is one that I used to read when I was younger. I think I was about 20 when I read it originally. I really enjoyed the trilogy. I've read it, I think, 2 or 3 times, so this will be either my second or third reread, and I'm looking forward to see if it will be any good. Then we have Inscription, which is to pick a book from the top shelf of your TBR. I always, on my top shelf upstairs, I have my current TBR, a bunch of hardback books, and then I also keep my library hauls on there. So I picked Detransition Baby by Tori Peters, as that was pretty much the last of the library books that I hadn't included. Then Psionics and Divination is to read a book with clouds on the cover or title. I've gone with Graceling by Kristin Kishore because you can see here it has clouds on the back and she is framed by them. And finally we have Shapeshifting, which is a wolf in the cover, title, author name, etc. And honest to God, this took me so long. I thought I would own quite a few. It turns out I really don't. Wolves are not my thing. So I really struggled. But finally, I did find Death of a Fairy Tale by Emily Flunk, which is a murder mystery kind of Once Upon a Time crossed over with Grimm's fairy tales kind of retelling, and I decided to do that one because it has a little wolf on the cover. So woo, got there eventually. So those are the picks for the Magical Readathon. Now, as always, I also have my Heroic TBR. Very quickly to go through last month's books and did I or did I not read them. It didn't go well. We had Out of Character, which was Fat Gum, plus size rep. I did not finish, so that does not count. We had Go to Hell with Bakugo and the Night Raven by Sarah Painter that I got 50% of the way through before DNFing. So I am counting that as that I did it because, you know, I'm not going to punish myself for not, I at least started it and I'm not going to punish myself for DNFs. And I got quite a significant part of the way through it. We had Flashfire by TJ Klune, which was Kaminari and a comic relief character. I did not complete that. A character with a dark side they struggled to control I had, which was Tokiyami. I had The Other Black Girl, and again I didn't get to that. Set in a Wood or Forest, I had In the Lives of Puppets, again nothing. And then finally Excuse Me While I Ugly Cry, which was my friend pick for the big 3, and I didn't get to that either. So I got to almost none of these, and the one thing I would like to say though is one book that I did complete called, spoiler alert, let me grab it. For one of the prompts, I did actually complete a book that did fit the prompt, even though it wasn't the book that I picked for it. So, well, say complete. It will be complete by the time I upload this tomorrow. And that is spoiler alert. And this has plus size rep. So I am counting that one as that prompt. I don't normally, but it's been a really crappy month for me reading wise. So I'm just going to take the win. So that means when we go to the board, I need to move back 2 places. It also means that I have to roll 7 times instead of 6 because, as I said in the past, for every 3 books I complete, I can choose to remove a prompt. For every 3 books I don't complete, I have to add. So let's go to the board and see what prompts we end up with. Okay, so as always, here is our board. First things first, we need to go back 2 spaces, so I can get it to come off the board. Starting back 2, let's roll for our first roll. Maybe we can complete the board though doing 7. Or not. That is a 1. 1. We have our cards. The cards go here, don't they, usually? Our first roll is, hope I had the cards the right way up. Hood. Character undergoes a transformation. Roll number 2. Hey! 12! Oh, we have a special. We landed on a star. So that means I have to roll my d4 and then do whatever that tells me. So we have 2. So 2 is to read an ebook. Roll number 3. 2. That is a wild draw, and the prompt is League of Villains, a book where the villains team up. Ooh, that could be fun. Roll number 4 is a 5. I swear to God, if I get a 1 next, I will cry. Prompt is Lunch Rush, set in a cafe. Roll number 5 is off the board. A 9. Which is another blank. And the prompt is Hero Rankings. Read the highest or lowest rated book on Goodreads from your TBR. Roll number 6. Oh, we're doing well here. And we have a 2nd star. Do we? Did I go the wrong way? I did just go the wrong way. And we have Shiozaki plants on the cover. And our final roll is a 7. Okay. Well, we finished the game. Oh God, this video is going to be so long. And we have work studies written by somebody you admire. Okay, let's go through them. As you can see from the board, I actually completed the game, which is awesome and lends brilliantly to the fact that I want to take May off. So that now means that I've got all of April and all of May to go back to the board, work out the things that I'm not really enjoying, work out if I need to add extra bits. The answer to that is yes, I do. And what I'm going to add and what I'm going to improve, and generally just do a few tweaks to the board and to the game for the next round. This is all stuff I pre-recorded earlier, so I then needed to work out what my extra little thing was going to be. So I'm just going to show you those clips now of me rolling for that and picking out what I am doing as my little reward. Okay, excuse the mess on my desk, but here we go. I'm going to pick out. So if I roll a 1, I have to do an unhaul, a 2 is a giveaway, 3 is a Waterstones trip to Birmingham, and 4 is a book date, which I will go more into if I get that one. So let's see what we get. Oh, can you see that? I don't think you can. That is a 4. That was a 4. So that means, oh God, I can't get my camera to work right. So that means I have to pick one of these, and I have 5 little dates for myself. I have Lichfield Library trip, we have a day in bed, so I'll read and snacks, a 24-hour buddy read with probably Ren, the lake, so go down to the lake and just spend a couple of hours reading and watching the birds, maybe take my sketchbook, and then a cafe. Not usually my favourite, but every now and again it's nice to go and just treat yourself to a drink from like a Costa or a Starbucks or one of the local cafes. So let's see what we get. Just gonna shuffle. Put my eyes shut. I'm gonna go that one. What we got? Upside down. The lake. Cool. So one of the days in April I will take myself down to the lake. And I'll take you guys with me, and we'll do some vlogging, and we're going to go read and watch the swans and the birds and feed them maybe. Welcome back. So as you saw, my little reward to myself is a little book date. So at some point during the month, I will take myself down to the lake for an afternoon and just sit and read and hopefully have a really lovely afternoon, may feed the swans, and yeah, hopefully have a really great time with that. But for the My Heroic TBR, we had first of all Hood, who is a villain, and for this I have chosen Detransition Baby by Tori Peters because obviously it's about transitioning and transforming oneself, whether from male to female or female to male, etc. And I just feel like that fit that prompt really well. Then we had the League of Villains, so a book where the bad guys teamed up, and honestly, I don't know enough about all of these books to really know if that happens, but the one that I thought might be the best fit, and I'm not sure if they're really the villains, but I'm thinking the Raven Boys, because when I did read this last time, the guys from the boys' school seemed like absolute dicks, and they came across a little bit mean, and I'm not sure if they are going to be villains. I could be completely off. So if I am, then I will also talk about Angelfall, because I can't really say why because of spoilers, but there is definitely an element there of villains kind of teaming up and working together. Then we had hero rankings, so I had to look at the highest and lowest rated book, and I've got that clip here. Right, I'm on Goodreads, so my books. TBR owned. Sorted by average rating, so... Oh, okay. Not what I expected. So Flame Touched by Elora Corin is 4.67. So that's the highest rated. And our lowest is... I don't actually own that anymore. I've DN. Wow, okay. That one I gave away. That one, Beneath the Burning Wave, I need to remove. So do I need to remove Twice in Lifetime? So the lowest that I actually own is Sophia, Princess Among Beasts, with an average of 3.13. And the book that I chose out of those two was Sophia, Princess Among Beasts, because it was a slightly thinner book and I've already got a reasonably ambitious TBR, so I was like, let's go for the slightly less ambitious book. Then we had I had to roll the dice because I landed on the star, although I might have done that a bit earlier. I'm forgetting what order I did this in. But the prompt for that was to read an ebook, and I'm going to go with Death of a Fairy Tale by Emily Funke, because I've already picked that for the Magical Readathon, and I don't want to keep adding extra books to my TBR, even though I'm going to do it anyway because I hate myself. Then we had Lunch Rush, which was to read a book set in a cafe, and I honestly do not have any books that are set in a cafe. So I went back, I redrew another one, and I did film it, but that was in a clip from it. It was a mess, okay? But what I've gone with in the end, and I've gone with Graceling for this one because I don't know, I feel like I'm hoping this is going to be like Poison Study last year, where I'd put it off for forever because I didn't think I'd like it and ended up loving it. So I'm hoping that the same's going to happen with this one. Then we had Shiozaki, which is to read a book with plants on the cover, and I have chosen Daughter of the Moon Goddess because there are many, many, many plants on this cover. And then finally we had the work studies, so to pick a book written by somebody that I admire, and I'm going to go with Vespertine by Margaret Rogerson because I admire her ability to write books that are very, very different. I've read 2 of her books, and even though both were fantasies, they both were written very, very differently, to the point I almost wouldn't have thought it was the same author. And I'm interested to see if the same happens again here. And I admire anyone that can do that, where they can write in a way that doesn't just feel like the same book churned out again and again and again, and has a lot of variety. It's why I like V.E. Schwab, because every book I've read of hers has had completely different tones and characters and has always been really well written. And so that's what I'm hoping with Vespertine. And I'm hoping this will be the book that will cement Margaret Rogerson as a future favourite auto-buy. So as always, I have told myself that I'm not going to be doing too big a TBR. And I told myself that we were going to, try and just have the same books for both reading challenges, which I think I've done actually. I don't think I've added any extra. And yet I still have ended up with a pile of books that I can't even hold in one go because they're going to go flying. But I've still ended up with a huge TBR. Like, oops. Yeah. So there goes my plan for having a smaller TBR, and we still have this. But like I said, this month is obviously Magical Readathon and my Heroic TBR, and then in May I am just taking the month off. I've got one book that I have pre-planned to read, and that's my buddy read. Other than that, I am reading only what I want, when I want, how I want, and I'm just going to have a mood read month and give myself the month to prepare for a readathon that I am hoping to host in June. Otherwise it'll be later in the year, and it'll be like a build your own D&D adventure type thing, and also give me time to readjust my heroic board and see if there's any adjustments needed there. Anyway, if you have watched this entire video, thank you so much. The raw footage is now at 30 minutes, so hopefully I can get it down to about 20, 25. But if not, thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you are doing the Magical Readathon, what are you studying this year, and do you have any books that you're super excited to get to? Honestly, I'm actually looking forward to most of these. There's only one or two that I'm a little bit like, I'm not too sure about, but you know, I will just get on and see what I do. So yeah, let me know in the comments. I hope you're all good. I hope you're staying safe. If there's anything that I've missed off, Editing Kirsty will jump in at this point to add it in. And until next time, I'll see you later. Bye.